why do I say that AI or pretty much any technology is not inherently progress, is not advancement? And if you listen to this podcast, I'm sure you know, I love to dig into the root of things, the mechanics of things. Start with the foundation, and we work backwards from there. So when we talk about the design of a React program, I look at it as, okay, what is the ideal? Like if we were to build the perfect React program, let's imagine that. We're not restricting ourselves with a budget or any other constraints. We just build the best React program. Okay, we know what that looks like. Like once we've defined that, we can work backwards from it and be like, okay, how do we get to there? What are the most efficient ways to get there? What's the best way to get there? I do the same with humans, with society too. So to me, I am like, okay, let's look at humans. What do humans want? What is the ideal situation for humans? And I'm not going to claim that I have all the answers here. I certainly don't. But I do know some things for sure, and I think most people would agree on these things. So when I look at humans, and what I'm looking at is what makes us as humans happy? What makes us satisfied? What makes us fulfilled? What makes us feel like life is worth living? These really, really deep existential questions that, you could probably research for an entire lifetime and not fully solve it, right? Even with that being said, there are, I believe, things that we can generally agree on. And so the place that I usually start with is human interactions, deep, real, connecting friendships. When you talk to people, when I think about myself, that is one of the most fulfilling, satisfying things that makes me and anyone else happy. Like that, the amazing friendships that you have, the experiences you can have with other people. That is definitely one of the most important things when it comes to answering these, life questions, right? Another one would be autonomy, individual or collective autonomy. It's the idea that nobody wants somebody in power over them telling them what to do. This is pretty counter to how many of us exist in society, but this is also really well known and really common. Like you complain about your boss, you complain about the government, you complain about basically anyone that is put into a position of authority over you, making you do things you don't want to do, or you don't think are right, or you don't think is the best way to do things. So another, aspect to what I look at as, the ideal for humans is a society in which all of us have our own individual autonomy and power, and nobody has authority or power over us. This doesn't necessarily mean like a society where we all just run around doing whatever we want. This is more like in the ideal society, all of us feel empowered to work within society and have influence over society, and most importantly, influence over our own lives, where we can make our own choices about what we want to do with our lives. This is also, I believe, central to what makes people feel happy and fulfilled and satisfied and all the other things that we want as humans. So when we're talking through the rest of the points I want to talk through in regards to technology and AI and progress, the place I'm coming from is imagining this ideal world in which humans, which me and you and everyone else are feeling these good things. We're like, yeah, my life is great. I love living my life. I love waking up every morning. That's not always perfect. Sometimes I have conflict with my best friend and we have to resolve it, whatever. It's not perfect, but like life just feels full and worth living. So I don't know, I'm not claiming I know exactly, how to achieve that or whatever. But I think we can all look at this and agree that there are some things we can know, especially as this whole idea interacts with technology, and AI. So backing up some more, I think the other part of what we need to take a look at is what is technology? What is progress? What is advancement? And we've talked about it a bit in terms of being a lever. But I want to really dig into the idea of progress and advancement. And for the first example, I want to go back in time to before the washing machine was invented. So before then, people washed their clothes by hand. It was a very manual process, often primarily done by women, arduous, it took a long time, right? I don't know if you've ever actually tried to wash clothes by hand and do it effectively. I have attempted it quite a few times, and it's not, it's a lot easier to throw stuff in a washing machine, right? So let's say we go back in time and you are somebody that's had to manually wash clothes your whole life, and then the washing machine is invented. And people are like, wow, this is amazing. Look at the progress we're making. You no longer have to spend hours cleaning and scrubbing the clothes by hand. You can just throw it in this machine and it will do it for you. And so everyone's like proclaiming the progress that we've made. We are saving people so many hours every year. They no longer have to wash their clothes. They no longer have to do this manual labor. It's so much better. You can sit and read a newspaper. Before you would have had to spend those hours washing clothes. Now you can just sit and read a newspaper, right? You can relax. You can do your hobbies. You can spend your time doing more fulfilling things, right? We've made progress, right? This is the whole point. We have freed up time for people. We've freed them from manual labor. We've made progress. Well, let's go back in time and look at that. Did that really happen? When we invented washing machines, does that mean that, people used to work 60 hours a week, and then they got a washing machine, and now they only have to work 50 hours a week? Is that what happened? Everybody reduced the amount they had to work by 10 hours a week? Does that really happen? Did every technological advancement that we ever had just keep reducing the amount of work that we actually have to do? Maybe for a very small portion of people, maybe you could say that's true. But when you look at us as a society as a whole, absolutely not. Think of all in my lifetime, which is not, there's a lot of people that have lived a lot longer than me. So even in my not super long lifetime, there's been a lot of technological advancements that, people call them advancements, right? Smartphones, cell phones. When I was a kid, we used landlines, we typed in numbers and, call our friends, and, it was attached to the wall, right? And now we have computers in our pockets, right? That should have meant, as a worker, this would save me a lot of time. I have a calculator in my pocket, right? So I used to, did my dad, who was working at that time, he did a 40-hour work week. Did the advancement of a smartphone mean, now he only has to do a 30-hour work week? Or maybe he still has to do a 40-hour work week, but did he get a massive bump in his pay? Did his employer say, wow, look at this. We have better computers. We have phones in our pocket. You can travel around and do your meetings on your way to visiting a supplier. This saves us time. This saves us money. And we're going to give that back to you. So did my dad then make twice what he used to make? No. In fact, that's not the effect we had at all. Getting a washing machine, getting computers, getting smartphones, it changed the society that we live in, but it didn't mean that, oh, now I only have to work. Like, if you look at all the technological achievements we've had in the last even 50 years, if the whole idea was that this is progress, that this frees us up to work on what we really want to work on, to do our hobbies, to hang out with our friends, to do the things that make us feel fulfilled, did these technological improvements actually do that? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's probably done the opposite for a lot of people. A lot of people, you're working multiple minimum wage jobs. You don't even have time to look at ChatGPT or AIs. I mean, you barely have time to eat and sleep, right? I think when you look at this reality, I don't think you can look at it and say, this is inherently progress. This is inherently advancement. Because again, going back to what actually makes us happy and fulfilled as humans, it isn't like improving that part of the equation. It's just not. And I think it makes sense. So I think what we can look at next is like, what is technological improvements? What is this new AI actually going to do? What effect is it actually going to have on society?